Thank you, Brian, and thanks, Przemek, for the Polaris catalog demo. That was super exciting. Okay, for the next one, up here on my browser, I have the Snowflake localstack.cloud documentation, where as a pointer to all of you, we have all our guides and our documentation for every service that we support. So right now we're going ahead to show an example on how to use snowpipes. So snowpipes in Snowflake actually enables you to load data as immediately as they're available or uploaded on a stage. That means it has its advantages over, for example, just manually or explicitly using copy statements to load data via a scheduler or something explicitly. For that, we are also using some of the AWS services, such as S3 bucket to kind of store data in a stage format, and SQS, for example, to emulate the way that the process of loading data happens in Snowpipe. So let's get started with a simple example and see we can see how to create a snowpipe and how the data actually is being loaded into a target practically. So first and foremost, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to start my local stack emulator. And for that, you need local stack Snowflake Docker container. We're using local stack CLI here, and we are just making the terminal print more logs with debug equal to 1. With my emulator running, we can check if everything is working properly by bringing up a SQL client and just running a simple query here. We can show that everything is connected, so that's all right. And what we need now for the snowpipe example, first and foremost, we might need to storage. So we're going to create an S3 bucket with AWS local, which was mentioned before as well. And then we are going ahead and create a stage. Now to create a stage, this is the exact query. We can create a stage pointing it to the S3 bucket I just created with these credentials, which are mocked out because we are using the emulated version of S3 and SQS, which also come as bundled emulation services with the Snowflake emulator as well. Instead of using an explicit like type JSON file format, we can also create a named file format, but we're going ahead and just create it like it's being stated in the docs here. So we created a stage. We will create a table, which will be the target of my data next up. And if I select now everything from this table, then we shall see no records for now, and that's expected. And now I'm going to actually create a pipe. The way pipes are created is you define a copy into statement, which identifies the source location of the data file and the target table where the data shall be loaded to. Now, I don't really need this file format. Let's keep it simple. And we are going to create this pipe. Now, if I run show pipes here, we can see the pipe is created, and we can also see its definition. So the copy into statement and its notification channel, which is basically the topic that it's subscribed to listen to for new messages coming in our case, the data. And now we are going to use AWS local again to actually put some data into the S3 bucket. In order to do that, first and foremost, we are going to use the API, the put bucket notification API, in order to actually trigger a notification whenever an object is created in the S3 bucket. So I'm going to create a notification.json file here with this configuration. And with this being done, I will actually configure the notification in the put bucket notification configuration in the bucket itself. And then what I need to do is to actually just create a file. In our case, a JSON file, because we set up our stage in that format. For that, I will create a new test JSON that will just have simple JSON files, JSON records, to be correct. And then I will copy that JSON file in our S3 bucket. So we're going to upload the file to the S3. And with the way we defined or we created the pipe, data should already be available in the target table. So if I run select from table again, we are going to see the data, the two records that are uploaded to my test table. On top of that, we can also directly, of course, query the same data from the stage, or even select metadata from those things like file name, for example, or metadata file row number from this test, from the stage, which will actually just show or just query the metadata from the records that we loaded in this stage. This is as part of me showing how Snowpipe works. And with that out of the way, we shall continue with the next example, which is the news about native apps and how we emulated those. So again, we do have documentation and guides on native apps, so native apps in Snowflake are actually just a framework that helps you create and deploy applications with core SQL functionality integrated. Snowflake itself has a repository here with their own examples, one of which we are going to show is this task streams. They have their own README file. Of course, you will expect the structure. We have a manifest file defining artifacts with a setup script, with the integration with or the actual default path to the Streamlit UI, which will visualize the application, etc. So to show that, I'm going just to restart my container here in order to have a fresh environment. And then I'm going to go here. This is me I went ahead and previously cloned repository. So I'm going to go in the task stream folder. Again, we are going to show there is a setup script which will set up everything, objects, roles, procedures that the application is going to need. And what the application is actually going to be is just a demonstration on how to start, stop, and refresh to see a task being scheduled and being run. And this task is being created and is scheduled to be run 1 minute. Because of time, I'm going to make it 10 seconds for the purpose of simplicity. And a little disclaimer here that I'd like to mention is that in this initial implementation of native apps, we don't currently support references 100%. So it might be good to comment this line out in order to make things simpler. And all we need to do really is just to deploy this app, which actually will build a native app and will run a Streamlit server. And that is done with Snow CLI. We can just run Snow app run. and it should be good to go. Another disclaimer here, you need to have Snowflake CLI installed and configured with local stack connection configuration. You can also find integration guides here on how to do that with Snow CLI. I myself have configured the connection to local stack being the default one, so I use that. But yeah. And yeah, with that out of the way, we can move ahead. This actually is the URL in which the app is deployed. It's part of the output script of the Snowflake repository. The actual one, or the correct URL is this one from the docs that you can find here. I'm going to go there, just replace the username with my username. And if luck is on my side, the application should be loaded. Here we can see the dashboard with the value, and which will be incremented every 10 seconds whenever we start a task. So we can see when I click start task, the task started. Now we just need to wait 10 seconds for this to be incremented. I can also show here the logs of everything. I can refresh and see that value is incremented. So we can see 1 here. And then, yeah, then there's 2. You get the gist. And then running stop task should really just suspend the task. So if we wait a little bit more, then this number shouldn't increment anymore. And yeah, this is what we're seeing here. And seems like everything is working. So I guess, yeah, that's it in regards to native apps too. So yeah,